Bharatam Mahabharatam Dharma Adharma Sangharshanam Pakshi Prani Manava Cha Deva Dharma Adharma Panchalika Jnana Prabhasita Divya Jivam Sarve Sarva Maha Amritam Sarve Sarva Maha Amritam Bharatam So the war begins. Bhishma is the commander of the Kauravas. Drishtadyumna, Drupada's son and Draupadi's brother, is the commander of the Pandava forces. But Krishna's army, Yadava army is on the other side, being led by Kritavarman as promised. This is something you need to notice. In spite of all the bitterness, in spite of, both the sides, at least this side feeling strongly they have deceived them and they need to be killed, still the words are kept. So you promised you'll send the army, you send the army. You don't say, you deceived me, so I won't send the army. You still send the army. That is the day, and that's the age in which they lived. So, the Kaurava Senapati, Bhishma, and the war starts. I won't go into all the gory details of things that happened. On the very first day, Uttara, who by now, inspired by Arjuna, has become a great warrior, goes down on day one. Uttara is Virata's son. You remember Arjuna and Uttara trying to fight the Kauravas at one time. Uttara goes down on day one and Virata becomes inflamed and the old man goes out like a madman, killing anybody who comes in his way. Second day, the Kauravas have a phenomenal loss of men and material because Virata goes berserk, Bhima He's in his destructive best. And the Pandava army has a slightly upper hand on the second day. This seesaw keeps happening day to day, hour to hour. Sometimes these are dominating, sometimes they are dominating. But on certain days, when certain people went into their full-fledged thing, the number of soldiers who got reduced on the battlefield was very, very big. So slowly, as days pass, towards 11th, 12th day, the armies become almost kind of equal in number because the number of Kauravas lost is much bigger. And by 16th day, the Pandava army seems to be bigger than the Kaurava army. But then certain people on the other side go berserk and they decimate both the armies quite drastically by the last day comes. We'll go there slowly. But I don't want to go into the detail arrow by arrow. Mahabharata goes about describing arrow by arrow the event. We'll not go that way. And on day 3, things happen in such a way that Kauravas start gaining dramatically. Yudhishthira kind of begins to freak a bit because see, there is a certain thing. You don't want a war because one thing, you don't want violence. Another thing is there is also fear of loss. But when there are hopes of victory, you don't mind a war. But again, when it recedes, you don't want a war. You know, this is the nature of almost everybody, it is happening like this. When they start dominating, they want to do it. When they start going back, why this war? Where is the need? This happens even today all the time. So when you know that you are going to be the victor, let's finish the war. When you know you're going to lose it, you want a draw. When you know for sure you're going to lose the match, you want a draw, isn't it? So, things go on. Kauravas gain ground in a big way between 5th to 9th day. Bhima continues to kill Duryodhana's brothers and every day counting and telling Duryodhana, it is 5 today, it is 11, it is 22, it is 43, like this he keeps telling Duryodhana every day. Duryodhana's anguish and anger keeps building. Every day he counts how many brothers have died today. And Dhritarashtra and Gandhari have camped close by. Sanjaya is telling Dhritarashtra what is happening in the war. Event by event, he is describing how it's going. So Dhritarashtra wants to have a ringside view, hoping that his sons will win the war. Like he was having a ringside view of the dice game. Every time the dice was rolled, all he could ask was, who won? That's all that came out of him. Though he was being led, people were being led into total disastrous situations, which will invariably lead to bloodshed after some time. The only thing he was concerned about was who won. So even now, with the same concern, he sits and goes through enormous struggle. When the Kauravas go down a bit and that commentary comes to him, he suffers immensely. When they're doing a little better, he becomes hopeful. But Sanjaya keeps reminding him, Krishna is on the other side, whatever games happen, in the end they will win, they will win, they will win. Vidura and Sanjaya keep chanting. On the 9th day, Arjuna goes on hesitating. After the Gita Bodhana, Vishwarupa Darshana and everything, he goes on hesitating and he refuses to attack certain people on the Kaurava side. Then Krishna says, this is it. If you are not going to fight, I am going to fight. He has given a word to the Kauravas that he will not fight. If he fights forever, he will be seen as a man who did not keep his word. So he says, it does not matter what people think of me. Anyway, already they think I am a ranchor, I am this, I am a cowherd, I am a thief. All kinds of things are there. Let them think one more thing, I will finish this war today. So he took up his Sudarshana Chakra. I said, I will finish the war today. Then Arjuna said, don't do this. Your name will be tainted forever. I will fight. And then he started shooting more purposefully, otherwise he was shooting all over the place. So on 10th day, they want to get Bhishma because Bhishma is just wreaking havoc on the Pandava army. At every point, whenever the Kauravas go down a little bit, the first thing that Duryodhana says to Bhishma is, Pitama, you love Pandavas more than me. You are favoring them in the war. The old man just dies with these accusations. He may be many things, but he's a man of absolute integrity. When he says he will do something, he will do something. There are no two ways about that with the man. When he's taken the thing about being the commander of Kaurava army, he's doing his best, everything that he can do. But every day Duryodhana doubts, I think you love the Pandavas more than me, that is why you're doing this. In any number of ways, Bhishma tries to tell him, see, my love for you, my love for them is not in the way of my dharma. I have stood here to lead this army and that's all I know as a Kshatriya. I will lead this army to the best of my ability, but I want you to understand we are not fighting battle with children. We are fighting with people who can rout any army. And above all, Krishna is on their side. Oh, Krishna! He screams, who is he, that cowherd? What can he do? Anyway, he is not fighting. Bhishma says, you don't understand. As long as Krishna is sitting as a charioteer, Arjuna will not die. That is the problem. As long as Arjuna does not die, we are not going to win the war. They are going to win the war. I want you to know even now, on the 9th day, Bhishma pleads with him, we are half the armies we have lost on both the sides. Just be magnanimous and tell them, we are even right now. To vent our angers, we've fought, we've killed, both of us have lost many people who are dear to us. Let's stop this. You take your kingdom, we will take ours, go back. Do this, it can be done. And he quotes dharma and dharma, in the past, they're precedent of other kings who have done this. And the dharma says that there is no better dharma than forgiving and going ahead with life. So he keeps on quoting this and begs Duryodhana, at least now you understand. You had a much bigger army, 11 Ashokanis, they had 7, but still see how the battle is going. You will see as the days progress, they will dominate because if we begin to dominate, Krishna will participate in invisible ways. So we cannot win this war. Even now, turn around, save the lives of these hundreds and thousands of people who come to fight for you. Think about this, all these men who are standing here, they have wives, they have children, they have mothers. Stop this, because we are going to lose the war, and before we lose the war, we will kill hundreds and thousands of people, which is completely unnecessary and without purpose. All they want is their part of the kingdom. They are not asking for our part of the kingdom. If they were asking for our part of the kingdom, fighting was inevitable. But they're only asking for their part of the kingdom. Give it to them. Let's stop the war midway. Duryodhana says, nothing doing. He says, you love Pandavas too much, you're trying to save them. I have Karna. You have stopped Karna from fighting. Otherwise, in one day I will defeat them with Karna. Bhishma said, I am standing here, Drona is here. You keep on… Karna said, if I go on the battlefield in one day, I'll wipe out the Pandava army. So Bhishma reminds him, you know, when you went to attack Virata's kingdom, Arjuna single-handedly defeated all of us and took your upper cloth, do you remember? When you were shamelessly ran away from the battle and hiding in your chariot, they took your upper cloth. Arjuna and a 17-year-old boy did this to you. You've been bragging and making Duryodhana believe things. Tell me, what have you done till now? Which great war have you won, except strutting around in the palace and boasting to your friend? Tell me, which war have you won? Because Karna has never won any war. He's capable, but he hasn't had a chance. But still, having won something and not having won something is a big difference, isn't it? So, Bhishma really pulls it out on that day and he says, you have not won any battle. You went, you instigated Duryodhana and took him into the forest. The Gandharva had you all bound hand and leg in minutes. Who saved you? Shamelessly are you still living and bragging? If you had any shame or pride in you as you speak, you should have killed yourself. Here you live, every time you've been beaten, and now you keep on bragging and misleading your friend towards his death. You are fixing his death. That was 9th day. 10th day, Bhishma went to the battle and our Pandavas were determined, if they do not bring down Bhishma, their army will disappear. He is just demolishing the army. So, they planned their game plan. On that night, Amba, when she was in private, she would become a woman. When she steps out, she stepped out like a man. This is how it's described. Probably when she stepped out, she dressed like a man and walked out. When she's in private, she's like a woman because she is a woman. So, that day was set. Amba, who is now known as Shikandin. So Krishna placed the army in such a way, Amba will come in front of Bhishma. Bhishma's thing is, as a Kshatriya, he will never fight a woman. He will not shoot his arrows at a woman. So they brought Amba in the front and Arjuna just behind her. And Amba shot the first arrow and it struck Bhishma, but the next few arrows were Arjuna's. So Bhishma's love for Arjuna is such. When the arrow struck him and they didn't stop, Arjuna let loose a slew of arrows right across his body. It found its heart and everything. So he touched the arrow which entered his heart and he said, "Oh, this is Arjuna's arrow," and he smiled. At last I'm at least dying, being killed by the best warrior, not by somebody else. And then he touched the other arrow, which went even deeper, the first arrow. He said, "This is Amba's arrow," and he showed enormous love on his face because secretly he always loved this woman so much, but because of his vow, he just looked away from her, never gave an inch to her. So he felt the arrow which went deep into him and he held it and, with great amount of love, he held this arrow and he said, "This is Amba's arrow," and the great man went down. 3 or 4 generations, he had seen the Kuru dynasty through, and on that day, on the 10th day of the war, the great man fell and both the armies stopped fighting as a mark of respect for him. So once Bhishma is gone, Kaurava army needs a new commander. So they appointed Dronacharya as the commander. Drona is a Brahmana, but he has taken to martial ways. His guru was Bharatavaja, but his other guru is Parashurama, who gave him the astras. Parashurama has forbade him from sharing these astras at any time in favor of Kshatriyas. But the first thing that he did was go straight to Hastinapur and seek employment in the Kuru house. The man is sold out for the money and the comfort that one gets by working for a king. Being Duryodhana's kind of lieutenant, he knows everything that's happening there is wrong. But he doesn't have… many times he thinks he will go back because he has taken half of Drupada's kingdom. Many times he thinks he will take his son back and live in his own kingdom. Even if he has a kingdom, he cannot sit on a throne as a king because he is not a Kshatriya. But the temptation of all the savvy that's going on here is such that he stays back. Any number of times when crucial moments come, when things get too bad in Hastinapur, too bad means not for him, it gets too mean and out of any kind of civilized behavior, he thinks of leaving but stays back and stays back because there are things which are comfortable for him. So he would have made Ashwatthama the greatest Arsha. He wouldn't have shared things unless Arjuna pursued him so doggedly. Arjuna went like this when he was studying with Drona. He did not leave Drona out of his sight for a moment. When Drona slept in his room, he sat outside his room without sleeping because he didn't want to miss one moment. Drona tried to find times when he can teach something to Ashwatthama without Arjuna's presence, but Arjuna never allowed that. He made sure he's always there. And because of this, Arjuna became who he became as an Arsha. On the 11th day, Drona becomes the Senapati, and Drona, being who he is not a Kshatriya, he is a Brahmin, and he is not bound by the laws of Kshatriya within himself. He knows in the war he has to go by it, but within himself he is not bound by that. So on the 12th day, he tells Duryodhana there is no point going on fighting like this, because right now the way Arjuna is going, the way Bhima is going, the way Satyaki is going, and the other Yadava, other people who are in the Pandava army are going, we cannot win the war. So we will do one thing, you keep Arjuna off me, you keep him distracted with something. I will capture Yudhishthira and bring him here alive as a prisoner. I will do that for you. Then you handle the rest. You know how Duryodhana will handle the rest. So that is Drona. He doesn't want to fight the battle, he knows it's a losing battle. So he says, I will capture Yudhishthira and hand him over to you. You handle the rest of the situation the way you want, you are the king. So the only thing is they want to distract Arjuna because Arjuna is focused on Drona because he knows the havoc that he can wreak. So trying to distract Drona in so many ways, Tritagatas, who were a tribe by themselves, who had a certain level of enmity towards Pandavas, they take a vow that by today evening, we will either kill Arjuna or we will die in the battle, all of us. So they go for Arjuna and they taunt him in many ways and they draw him away from the battlefield, slightly away, so that Drona is free to capture Yudhishthira and hand him over to Duryodhana. So, this process gets pretty dangerous where Drona fights with Yudhishthira and Yudhishthira is no match for Drona. Simply, he's lost all his arms, gone and disarmed, he stands there. He would have been taken, except that Drishtadyumna came in between and things happened and war continued like this. And on day 13, it is the day 13 which kind of turned things over. Jayadratha is the husband of Dushala, who is the Kaurava daughter. He is battling with many people in certain ways. These are people who are not major warriors, but they're mean warriors. Sometimes mean warriors have more impact than major warriors, because major warriors are fighting by the rule book. Mean warriors do things on the side because they have no great honor to protect. A major warrior has his reputation to protect. A mean warrior has nothing much to protect, he can do just about anything. So things start happening on day 13, which is in many ways a turning point. Every day they get their army into different arrangements. The famous arrangements are like they go into like a crescent moon, the army goes into the shape of a crescent moon, or they go into the form of a makara or a crocodile, or they go into the form of a scorpion. These are different forms of standard attack that is practiced by the armies. Because once the battle is on, you can't give instructions to anybody. So already it's predetermined. They are trained for this, and today we are doing scorpion, means all the soldiers will form scorpion. Who is the sting, who is the claws, who is the legs, who is the body, it's already determined and they move like that. Today is crocodile, means they move like a crocodile. Today is a crescent moon, means they move like a crescent moon. So on that day, it was called as Chakra Vyuha, that means like a wheel, like a spinning wheel, they moved. The Duryodhana and the Kaurava army, led by Drona. The only person on the Pandava side who would know how to penetrate a formation like this is Arjuna. But they draw Arjuna away and nobody can penetrate, and this spinning wheel is causing absolute havoc on the remaining Pandava army. And Yudhishthira becomes desperate because the level of devastation the spinning wheel is causing is so big. The Pandava army is in a complete disarray and soldiers start running away. Because when too much death happens and there's no chance to fight back, naturally people will start running. So, to arrest this, he tries to get back Arjuna, but Arjuna is held to battle elsewhere. Then Abhimanyu, Arjuna's son, says, I know how to penetrate this. This happened when Abhimanyu was still in his mother's womb. Arjuna is just having a conversation with his wife, Subhadra. And as they're talking, because she's interested in everything, he's telling her what is a chakravyuha, what is a spinning wheel arrangement of armies, and how it functions and how it can be penetrated. And then something happens and he breaks the conversation and goes away. So Abhimanyu was listening from within the womb and he knows how to penetrate, but he does not know how to exit the spinning wheel. So he says, I know how to get in. So if you guys also get in with me, we can do something. This is a desperate attempt because this is a teenage boy, a great warrior, but still he's a young boy. Yudhishthira hesitates to put Arjuna's son into that kind of risk. But when he looks at the way the spinning wheel is decimating the army, he makes the decision and he says, myself and Bhima will enter along with you and many others will enter along with you when you enter so that they can't close upon you. Abhimanyu penetrates the chakravyuha and immediately it closes up. Yudhishthira and Bhima, whatever they do, they cannot penetrate. They remain outside. Arjuna goes Abhimanyu goes deeper and deeper, goes to the very core, causing lot of destruction, but he goes to the core and then after that he does not know which way to go. He gets stuck there and Karna, Jayadratha and a few others, Duryodhana and everybody are watching how he will manage this. And when they see he does not know how to move from there onwards, all of them converge on him. They break all the rules of war, that one warrior can engage only one warrior at a time. Here, 8, 10 of them engage him at the same time, disarm him. When he's down there, trying to still fight, one by one, they'll cut him down. And he will take the wheel of his chariot and try to fight with the wheel, defend himself with the wheel. Then all the 8 of them get down, the great warriors with their swords drawn. Karna, Duryodhana, Jayadratha and many others, all of them attack him from all around and kill him on the battlefield. So this news spreads that in a most unjust manner, stabbed from behind, this young boy, who is Arjuna's son, was put to death. Once this news spreads, then the whole complexion of the war is now going to change because there are no rules anymore. There are no rules to fight with. You can fight just whichever way, it's becoming like that. Maybe not totally so, but whenever needed, you can do whatever. So from there on, all talk of dharma disappeared and everybody started doing whatever they pleased as it's convenient for them. So the next injustice or that kind of killing that happened is Burisravas. Burisravas is an ancient warrior. He's over 70 years of age and a great warrior. And as he's fighting with Satyaki, who is a Yadava from Krishna's side, a close friend of Krishna, he has Satyaki down. And as it is a Kshatriya dharma, he is about to kill him and spare him the dishonor of being spared. At that time, Krishna tells Arjuna, Burisravas is going to kill my friend Satyaki. Sever his right arm, his sword arm is up. He said, sever his right arm immediately. But Arjuna says, this is not dharma. Then Krishna reminds, was it dharma how Abhimanyu died? So Arjuna lets out an arrow and breaks Burisravas' right arm. With the right arm gone, Burisravas' blood fountaining out of his arm falls all over Satyaki and Satyaki gets up and looks at Burisrava with his right arm severed. He takes out a sword and takes off his head. The whole army screams, "This is not fair." The old man doesn't have an arm and he takes off his head. "Satyaki, there is nothing fair about this war. I'll kill whichever way it comes." And he goes about wreaking havoc, not fighting men, just poking anybody anywhere. So I'm saying from 13th day onwards, dharma is like evaporating and just killing is beginning to happen. And Drona is the worst breaker of the rules because the law of the war is the astras. Astras means they're occult empowered weapons. These weapons can be used only against great warriors who are on a chariot. You cannot use it on foot soldiers, this is the law. But Drona starts using his astras indiscriminately on the foot soldiers, killing hundreds and hundreds of them, using the astras upon ordinary soldiers. So once Drona starts doing this, all the rules of the game are literally evaporating, no more rules. You can not only bowl 6 bouncers, you can take your bat and beat somebody on the head. I mean, it went like that. It's not just that you can break small rules, you can just break any rule. It became like that by the time it is 14th day. And this Jayadratha who killed Abhimanyu, he was the main person to kill Abhimanyu when he is unarmed. Then Arjuna takes this vow that by tomorrow evening, if I don't have Jayadratha dead, I will immolate myself. This is the problem with the Pandavas, they have a suicidal streak. So this puts enormous pressure on everybody. And once the Kauravas, the Duryodhana comes to know that Arjuna has taken this vow, he says, "This is it. Now all we have to do is, we don't have to fight the war. We just have to array our army in such a way that we protect Jayadratha for the day. By sunset, if he's not dead, Arjuna will anyway kill himself, war is over. If Arjuna dies, war is as good as over for the Pandavas." So, celebrations happen in Kaurava camp for the night because tomorrow's work is easy. We just have to protect Jayadratha, just somehow, like I don't want to go back to cricket examples, you know, sometimes we simply hang on. If you simply hang on for the day, you won it by points. So that's all you have to do, just simply hang on, protect Jayadratha somehow. By evening, Arjuna will immolate himself. What a joy it will be to see Arjuna burning himself up. Kaurava army in expectation are fully jubilant, they have already won the war in their minds. Now, they want to start the day early, the Pandavas. Kauravas want to start after breakfast because they want to have less time, these people want to have more time. And the war starts, they'll arrange, Jayadratha says, Arjuna has taken a vow, he will kill me, I will leave the battlefield. It doesn't matter if people say I'm a ranchor, I will leave the battlefield and go back to Hastinapur or go back wherever, where they cannot find me. Duryodhana considers that, but then he knows Krishna is there. If he comes to know that Jayadratha is travelling somewhere, they will pursue him and kill him on the way very easily. He said, "No, you be under my protection. I will put my whole army as security for you tomorrow. They are not going to get you. I will make sure they're not going to get you. And this is not for your sake, because we want to see Arjuna burning." So that day's war is all about somehow protecting Jayadratha. So many things happen on the day, but Arjuna and Krishna are determined to move towards Jayadratha. Kaurava army determined to deter him from that. Whole day goes on, evening is approaching, sun is slowly going towards his sleep state, for us at least. Pandavas get more and more desperate. Yudhishthira starts crying. Tears start welling up in his eyes. He looks at the sun and still Arjuna is far away from Jayadratha, is not able to get to him. Yudhishthira starts crying that this is it. If Arjuna dies today, it's over, it's as good as stopping the war. And Krishna looks at this. They're pretty close, but there's a whole range of warriors who have ranged themselves in such a way that Arjuna cannot reach. He has to kill all these people if he has to get there. Then when Krishna sees the situation is getting hopeless, he will let out his Sudarshana Chakra and raise a storm outside the battlefield. And such a volume of dust rises, it covers the sun and makes it feel like the sun has set. Jubilation, a jubilant roar goes up in the Kaurava army. Duryodhana, Karna, others throw their arms down and started hugging each other. This is it. Arjuna's heart sinks, he knows his life has ended. Arjuna is about to put his Gandiva down. Krishna says, "What are you doing?" Arjuna says, "My life is over." Krishna says, "The sun has not set. Just continue to fight." But by now, Kaurava army has made way. Jayadratha has thrown down his arms and jumping in joy. Through the day, he was in such great tension. Many times he wanted to run away, Duryodhana held him there, now jumping in joy. Now it was cakewalk because the Kauravas' army had opened up. Arjuna went straight and took his head off. Then people said, "Arjuna has broken his vow, what kind of a warrior is he? What kind of a Kshatriya is he?" Then the dust cleared. Once again the sun rays fell upon them. They all looked, this is the cowherd's trick. Duryodhana screamed, "This is the cowherd's trick. Kill him anyway." You're not supposed to kill the charioteer, but people started shooting at Krishna himself, where he got mildly injured. You never kill the charioteer, you don't go for the charioteer. You can break the chariot, but you don't kill the charioteer because he's sitting there unprotected. But they started going for him. But then, in the next few minutes, sun sets and the war comes down. So it continues like this on 15th day, I think, I'm not sure which day. On 15th day or so, they even break the night rules. Now, Drona gets killed by Drishtadyumna. Drona is wreaking havoc and Drishtadyumna is the guy who's to kill him and they are not able to kill him. So Krishna tells Yudhishthira, "You need to do something, which is a little bit of adharma, but it'll do a lot of good for everybody here." Yudhishthira looks very concerned. "What will you ask me to do now?" He asked Bhima to bring forth an elephant whose name was Ashwatthama. All the horses, elephants, chariots, the warriors' bows and some of the arrows, all of them have names. My memory is not doing good enough to come up with all those names. So this elephant has the name Ashwatthama. Krishna told Yudhishthira, first he told Bhima, Bhima, you just kill this elephant. With a single stroke of his mace, he cracked the skull of the elephant and the elephant fell dead. So, Krishna told Yudhishthira, now you just have to say, Ashwatthama is dead. Because Drona's son is Ashwatthama. This Brahmin has no concern for anybody else except for the gold that he gets and his son. So Krishna said, if you just tell Drona Ashwatthama is dead, he will be paralyzed. He will not have the thing to fight after that. His very purpose of fighting will be over because somewhere he believes that the next generation of his clan can become kings. He's waiting for that. He thinks he cannot become a king, it'll be too unbecoming, but he can make his son the king someday. You just say Ashwatthama is dead, he will be paralyzed and he will be a easy game after that. Yudhishthira hesitates a bit. Krishna says, make your choice. No day, no night, no rules. Drona is going about killing just anybody who comes in the way. He is using astras and foot soldiers. You follow your dharma, they will win the war. It's up to you. Looks like I am the evil one all the time. You're the guys who benefit, but looks like I am the one who is evil, you do whatever you want. If you say Ashwatthama is dead, Drona will be dead. With that, you will have a even keel to fight the battle. If Drona lives for one more day, forget the battle, you're gone. So, Bhima starts screaming, I have killed Ashwatthama, I have killed Ashwatthama. Drona hears this, becomes alert to that. And he looks around, he's not able to see Ashwatthama anywhere in this vast army fighting all over the place. But he does not believe Bhima, he knows Bhima could lie. And he knows it's not easy to kill Ashwatthama. And he does not believe Bhima could kill Ashwatthama. If Arjuna said, I killed Ashwatthama, he would have believed. When Bhima says, I killed Ashwatthama, he does not believe. So he comes close to Yudhishthira and asks Yudhishthira, is this true what Bhima is saying? Yudhishthira said, yes, Ashwatthama is dead, the elephant. Drona heard only what Ashwatthama is dead. The elephant, they cut off the volume. The audio failed a bit. You know, your own audio can fail sometimes, right? So, Yudhishthira's audio failed, the elephant. Yudhishthira lied, but he still wants to be on the dharmic side of the lie. And Mahabharata goes about saying that because Yudhishthira had never lied in his life and he was so truthful all his life, no matter if he lost the kingdom, his life, he never uttered a lie. His chariot, this is a metaphoric way of saying it, his chariot was always 3 inches above the ground, never touching the ground. The moment he said this, it came down to the ground like everybody else's chariot. That means somewhere the man fell. He kind of compromised his integrity when things came to things. When everything is on the block, kind of loosened up his stuff. And then Drona put his arms down, sat down in a cross-legged posture, in meditation, in his chariot. At that time, Drishtadyumna went down and chopped off the man's head who was sitting in meditation, not battling, an unarmed man, eyes closed. So Ashwatthama was so incensed by this, the way he was killed. He pulled out his ultimate astra, which is called as the Narayanastra. This would have burnt out the whole Pandava army, including the 5 Pandavas and everything. When he let it out, Krishna said, all of you just bow down, just prostrate yourself to the astra. The whole Pandava army prostrated themselves. A few stood up and got burnt out. But everybody else prostrated and it passed. And Krishna said he can use it only once. So there is no danger anymore because he has used his most potent weapon, now it has passed. So with Drona dead, a big obstacle gone, now Pandava army is upbeat. Bhishma gone, Drona gone, they're really upbeat and they're wreaking havoc. In the meantime, Ghatotkacha, Bhima's son, came from the south. He is a Rakshasa and he has immense occult powers. He creates hallucinatory situations. Kaurava army trembling with fear because all kinds of creatures are attacking them from the skies. They don't really kill, but they terrify. So when people are terrified, it's easy to kill them. So, Ghatotkacha brought a completely new dimension to the battlefield, that he brought occult in such a big way that it became complete cakewalk for Pandavas. They decimated the Kaurava army. On 16th day or so, Kaurava army was 1/4 of Pandava's army, of what's left. Duryodhana became desperate, Karna took charge of the Kaurava army. Karna knows they're going to lose the overall battle, but for him, the only thing that really matters is he wants to have the glory of ending a man's life who is believed to be the greatest Kshatriya ever, who is Arjuna. He wants to kill Arjuna and then he doesn't mind, even if he loses the battle, because he knows Krishna will not let the Kauravas win. If everything goes bad, he will enter the battle himself and he will see that it is won. So his thing is only glory. And by now, he knows that Pandavas are his own brothers. So he wants glory. So one by one, he attacks Pandava brothers, he defeats Yudhishthira, disarms him, comes close to him when Yudhishthira, terrified and ready to die, stands in front of Karna, unarmed. Karna comes and pokes him on the chest with his bow, with the tip of his bow, and says, "I don't think men like you should be fighting on a battlefield when I am here. It's best you go back to your wife. Maybe it's not the time for you, probably. Maybe it's the other brother." He is taunting. Then he defeats Bhima and taunts him. He says, "With all this muscle, what are you going to do? Like a bull you have grown. If I want, I take off your head. But what is the use taking off the head of children? Go." Nakula, Sahadeva, he does the same things because he's promised that he will not kill them. He's keeping his promise, but he wants to have glory that he defeated them. He lives for glory, and he's willing to die for it. The only one he wants to kill is Arjuna. When Indira came and asked for Karna's kavacha or his armor, you remember? The sun god warned him. In spite of that, he gave away his kavacha or his armor. At that time, even Indra was pleased with his sense of sacrifice because he's promised, even though he knows that it's sure death if he removes this, in spite of that, he gave it away. At that time, Karna asks, "Give me your Shakti for the kavacha and the kundala." So men will say, Indra gave Karna his own ayudha in return for what he took from him. The Shakti will not save my life, that is doomed anyway. But I feel strange love for you and I want to protect your reputation. He's saying, I feel strange love for you. I want to protect your reputation because what you're doing is so dastardly. Knowing fully well, I'm going into the battle, you're asking for my armor. This is the most dastardly thing. The king of gods doing this, your reputation will go. So at least give me your Shakti Astra, so that people in future will at least feel that Indra did some exchange. And anyway, this Shakti is not going to save my life. It is just that it will save your reputation. The man is always, within himself is strutting with a certain glory about himself, because glory is everything for him. Then Indra says to Karna, win or lose the war, it's a small matter. Today you have won immortal fame. With the arms you have given me, I name you Vaikartana for cutting your kavacha from your flesh. And men will say ever after that the greatest of all alms givers was not Indra but Karna. As long as the world lives, Karna, your fame shall live in it. And that's all he wanted. So both of them got what they wanted. And now the battle is on, he is without the kavacha, but he's got Shakti. This one astra, he can kill Arjuna, he's saving it for Arjuna. He will end Arjuna and then he is quite powerless without that and he will be killed by somebody. Ghatotkacha is letting loose. By now, the night rules are over, night also they're fighting. And this occult powers of Bhima's son, who came from the south, is such, they don't even know which way to fight, which direction to face, because illusory armies are all over the place, even from the sky. So Kaurava army doesn't even know which way to turn, and indiscriminate slaughter, it's a free run for Pandavas. Then it is night time, particularly in the night, Ghatotkacha becomes… because these people broke the rule of the night and started the war in the night. When they were fighting in the day, Ghatotkacha was just one more warrior. But in the night, he is a different kind because his occult powers come to full flowering in the night and he is just letting loose havoc. So then Duryodhana looked at this, he said, this night, Kaurava army will end. He tells Karna, use the Shakti, kill this giant. Karna hesitates because he's saving this one thing for Arjuna. If he uses this up, this dream of killing Arjuna will be over. He hesitates. Suddenly Duryodhana looks at him suspiciously. What is the matter? He has this problem that maybe somebody's loyalty has shifted. Man lives in that kind of fear. He questions Karna's loyalty. So Karna says, I have come here to die for you. I have not come here to win the war. I have not come here to rule. I have not come here to get a kingdom. I have come here to die for you. I am not doing anything less than what I should do. If you insist, I will use the Shakti. And he used the Shakti and brought down Ghatotkacha. And suddenly, all the occult powers were gone and it was a normal battle once again. Once they came to know, once Krishna came to know Karna has used up the Shakti, then he told Arjuna, tomorrow morning you must get Karna, that's it. He's finished. So next day morning they get Karna in a way that is not usually approved, but by then everything, nothing is approved or disapproved, people are doing whatever they want, everybody. Karna is carrying the bondage of two curses in his life. One thing is Parashurama has cursed him, when you really need it, you will forget the mantras. Another is the Brahmin whose cow was killed has cursed him that when you're fighting battle and when it's a moment of life or death, at that moment your chariot wheels will sink. And when you're helpless, as you killed my helpless cow, when the cow was simply helpless, unprotected, you killed it, just like that you will die. So, Karna fighting Arjuna, a lot of drama happens, then Karna's wheel goes down. He comes down and trying to get the wheel out. In normal battle rules, when it is down like that, they don't shoot at him, they wait for him to get back on the chariot. So Karna says, I'm sure you're Kshatriya enough not to shoot at me when I'm down. Of course, Arjuna also thinks he is a warrior enough to not to shoot, and he waits. Krishna asks, what are you waiting for? Now let him release his chariot wheel. Krishna's, his patience is running out. He says, kill him. Arjuna protests, but he's unarmed. It does not matter, kill him. He's trying to get his chariot wheel out, break the chariot. So he breaks the chariot. Then Karna knows that they're going to fight even if he's down. So he picks up his bow. He says, break his bow, breaks it when he's standing totally unarmed. He says, take off his head. So Arjuna takes off his head. So Karna goes down. A great man and a great tragedy and a great mistake all his life. Not evil, just a big mistake, yes. He goes down, with him gone, Duryodhana has lost his heart. Karna was always his assurance. With Karna dead, Duryodhana's heart is gone. He put Shalya as the commander. Shalya fights bravely, but Yudhishthira kills him on that day. Once that is done, Pandava army is on a rampage. They're just completely decimate in the process. Pandava army also dies in big numbers. Ashwatthama clears up a large part of the Pandava army. 18 days of war is kind of over. Everybody who is significant is dead. 5 Pandavas are alive. Drishtadyumna is alive. Pandava children are alive. All the Kauravas dead except Duryodhana. Ashwatthama is alive, Kripacharya is alive. Most of the foot soldiers are either dead or have left the battlefield having lost their mind, most of them. Seeing this indiscriminate killing, many of them lost minds and ran away. Lost their heart or lost their mind, whichever way they ran away. So, war has ended. Pandavas have won. Duryodhana leaves the camp. He is burning. He is burning with the shame of being defeated. They said, the Vyasa goes about describing, it was like hot oil was poured over his skin, like that it was burning. So he goes to a place where there is a small pond and he uses a certain capability that he has to go and sit inside the cool water. He wants to quell this suffering that he's going through. His body is burning like he's in hot oil. So he goes, sits underwater. Krishna says, Duryodhana is still not dead, so the war is not over. Look for him. So they go about looking here, there, nowhere. They send spies all over the place into the nearby forests, caves, this, that, searching everywhere. Then they find footsteps going into the pond and not coming out. So the Pandavas arrive there. Loudly, Bhima shouts at him, "Hey coward, what are you doing there? Underwater, come!" Duryodhana hears it, but he restrains himself. He knows this is not the time to burst out. Krishna, then they are all looking what to do, because they cannot go underwater like him and do what he is doing. Krishna indicates to Bhima, just taunt him, you are the best person. Use the vulgarity of vocabulary that you have. So, Bhima lets loose all the vulgar vocabulary that he has, insulting Duryodhana in many ways. There's a beautiful piece of literature in Kannada, probably written by Kamba, or I don't know, somebody should know. I don't know the poet's name now, but I remember somehow this one poem stuck in my head. I am not somebody who studied Kannada literature, but somehow this one poem just stuck in my head. This is called as Neerolagiddu Brahmarthan Nuragapatakan. The poet is saying how he sat inside the water and he was sweating because unable to bear Bhima's insults. He was sitting in cold water and sweating because Bhima's insults were such that he was sweating. The whole poem is just about this, how Duryodhana gets inflamed within himself and starts sweating inside the cold water. So, then not able to bear it, he will come out. Yudhishthira, being the king who has won the war, steps up and says, Duryodhana, you brought this war upon us. We did not want to fight, but unfortunately you did not want to give what belonged to us. I even told you, I just want 5 villages, but you said, not even a point of a needle worth of land you will give me. So we brought ourselves to this, we had to kill your brothers, we had to lose many people who were dear to us, some of our children died, so many dear friends died. Now, if I let you off, it will be a disgrace for you, you cannot bear that. So, you can duel any one of us with any weapon that you choose. If you win, you can take back your kingdom. Krishna looked heavenward. What to do with this man? He's a good man and a good man and a good man. After having hundreds and thousands of people dead, the fruit of the war, he wants to hand it over. Immediately, Duryodhana saw the chance. And the choice of weapon also he's giving it to him. When Duryodhana picks up the mace, there is nobody who can stand in front of him. Bhima believes he can beat him, but the truth is he cannot. Bhima is stronger than Duryodhana, but he's a little bit of a lump. Duryodhana has been training, everyday training, mace fighting for years. When these people are walking the jungles, he's been training and he's a very skillful mace fighter. The moment Yudhishthira said, you can have the choice of your weapon, this is standard language. But in this kind of extreme situation, the man is employing standard language. And he knows. And he is saying, you can pick any one of us. If he picks Nakula, Sahadeva, he'll sweat them like flies. But his pride won't allow him to pick Nakula or Sahadeva. He says, the choice of weapon is mace. And of course, I will choose Bhima because it's always my wish to kill this lump of a man that you call a brother. Krishna rolls his eyeballs. What to do? So, a duel starts. Right from the first moment, Duryodhana has an upper hand because during the war, a certain incident happened. After the first or second day of the war, Gandhari sees means through Sanjaya's eyes, she sees that this war could go anyway. And because she kept her eyes closed for so long, consciously, she's not blind, she chose consciously, because consciously she kept her eyes closed for so long, she had acquired a certain amount of power within herself. So she decided to use it. So she told Duryodhana, tonight you come to me, totally naked. You come into my tent completely naked and I will look at you just once and you will become indomitable, nobody can kill you. But come totally naked. So Duryodhana had a dip in the river and walking naked towards his mother's tent, Krishna accosted him. And he said, "Oh, Duryodhana, what is this? Like a child you're walking. But you're no child. I can see you're a grown-up man." "And where are you heading?" Duryodhana covered himself. "Where are you heading? It looks like you're going towards your mother's tent. What is this?" He mocked. He said, "No. Have you fallen this far? Have you fallen this far that you're going to your mother's tent naked like this, a grown man?" "No, my mother has asked me to come like this, that's why I'm going." It doesn't matter what she asks, she has not seen you, she thinks you're a baby. She had her eyes tied all the time, she's not looked at you at all, she thinks you're a baby. But you're a grown man, you're a king, you're a warrior, don't you have this much sense that In Arya Dharma, we don't go and stand naked in front of our mothers. At least cover yourself to the extent it's necessary. So Duryodhana went, cut a banana leaf and covered himself with a banana leaf and went and stood in front of his mother. Mother, I have come. Gandhari untied her wrap and opened her eyes and looked at him, and her heart fell. She let her power out, and then she asked, "Why did you cover yourself?" She said, "Mother, I thought it would be inappropriate to come and stand in front of you naked, so I just covered with a leaf." She shook her head, closed her eyes and tied the band once again, and she asked, "Who told you to cover yourself?" Krishna. Her heart turned cold for Krishna. She was waiting for her opportunity to come. So on that day, when the duel happened, it doesn't matter what kind of blows Bhima strikes, Duryodhana again comes back. But Duryodhana is not only protected, he is also more skillful than Bhima. Bhima is more powerful, but Duryodhana is more skillful. And then when it looks like for sure Bhima is going to die today, Duryodhana is laughing by now. He's not only going to have the joy of killing Bhima, he's going to get back his kingdom. He's laughing, taunting Bhima, "Okay, come on." He's playing with him now. It's no more a fight, he knows he can kill him any moment. He's playing with him. All the four brothers stand there distraught. They know what they thought is victory is again defeat. Bhima looks at Krishna. Then Krishna says this, reminding him, "You had taken a vow that you'll break his thigh. Do it now." But in a mace fight, hitting below the belt is not allowed. Even today, we're following the rules. If below the belt is considered treachery, then Bhima hesitated, looked. Krishna just said, "Come on." Duryodhana was now playing around with Bhima, showing his skills, jumping, leaping up in the air, showing off his skills. He is fully back again. So he leapt up to come down with a death blow. Bhima took his mace and went down between his legs, shattered. Duryodhana fell, mortally wounded, and he said, "I did not think Pandavas will sink this low, that they will hit me below the belt in a duel." Krishna said, "Don't talk about dharma, not you. With you there is no dharma." But then Balarama had come back. Balarama did not participate in the war. Rukmi and Balarama did not participate in the war. Balarama went on a pilgrimage at the time of war. And now he picked up his mace to kill Bhima because you have broken the laws of mace fighting, and Balarama is a teacher of mace fighting for both of them. Krishna came in the way and he said, "Oh, now you are here to establish dharma. When you were needed, you went on a pilgrimage. Why did you come back? Now you have come to establish dharma." When Panchali was pulled by hair in the court, you did not get angry. When they tried to disrobe her, you did not get angry. When Pandavas were sent to forest by cheating in the game, you did not get angry. And when they completed their full term like fools, nobody would have done that, they would have come back and attacked. They completed 13 years and they came back. They were not given what was due to them. you did not get angry. Now, your disciple, your favorite disciple is lying here with his manhood shattered. So you are angry, you want to protect dharma. Leave this place. Protecting dharma is not your business because you've never participated in that. So once Krishna stands up like this, Balarama has no answer. Very angry, he promised Duryodhana, you will attain to heaven. This much I promise you, and left. Then Krishna said, you need to understand the man's mind. He said, for all the things that he has caused, then Bhima went and put his foot on Duryodhana's head. This is the worst thing you can do. When your enemy is defeated, you treat him with respect. But now Bhima put his foot on his head and wants to drink his blood. We missed that, he drank Dushyasana's blood. He killed Dusyasana in the battle, opened up his chest, took his heart out and ate it in the battle. And he took this blood and went and smeared it on Draupadi's hair. Only then she started combing and tying her hair, because she had taken a vow for 13 long years she had not tied her hair. So he drank blood and he ate up Dusyasana's heart. He again has a desire to do something like that for Duryodhana. Yudhishthira interfered, don't do this, this is not dharma. You can't put your foot on a defeated enemy's head. Stopped it. So Krishna looked at him and said, yes, you cannot put your leg on his head, nor do you have to do anything. Let us leave Duryodhana to his own ways, let us not interfere. That means they want him to die slowly. They should actually, by law, they should kill him. But Krishna said, you don't want Bhima to put his leg on his head. You are so concerned about dharma, so let us not interfere with Duryodhana's life anymore. And he took the Pandavas and went away. Ashwatthama, Kritavarma and Kripacharya, who had survived the war, had escaped into the forest. They came down and found where Duryodhana was. They saw this. And Ashwatthama is raging because they lied to his father about his death and they killed Dronacharya. So he hatched a plan. He said, we must do something. What to do, what to do? So Kripacharya, Kritavarma and Ashwatthama, three of them are camping in the forest. The other two fell asleep out of exhaustion. Ashwatthama sat there. When a man is filled with hatred, he'll have tremendous energy always. You can't sleep. He just sat there. What to do? Somehow he wants to avenge his father's death. Then he saw a night owl quietly flew in and attacked the crows. The crow's nest, killed them indiscriminately. And the little babies, the crow babies, tried to pop out of the nest, and ruthlessly the hunting owl just killed all of them. In a few moments, the job was done. The whole family of crows were just done by the owl without a sound. Have you seen an owl flying in the night? If it flies by you, except the wind, you won't feel a little bit of sound, that silent it is. Ashwatthama watched this and he thought, this is the thing to do. Kripacharya says, a warrior must be brave, but he must also be virtuous. You must remember, Duryodhana was no king of dharma himself. This he is telling to Ashwatthama. He was greedy and ruthless. He humiliated the Pandavas. He cheated them out of everything they owned and banished them for 13 years. Still they sued for peace until the last moment, but Duryodhana was unrelenting. We must not take his death out of its context or forget everything he did to the sons of Pandu. As for the manner in which Bhima struck him down, it was only as he swore he would.
Perhaps you're right that the Gada Yuddha was not the occasion to do it. That isn't cause enough for us to commit the crime you want to. Kripacharya tried to stop him, but he still participated in that. It is a tradition that when they win the war, the victors will go and sleep in the camps of the losers. It's a kind of establishing that they have won the war. So Krishna told the Pandavas, as per the dharma, we must sleep in the Kaurava camp. Come, let's go and enjoy Duryodhana's bedroom. So all the 5 Pandavas went there. The women and children were sleeping in the Pandava camp. Ashwatthama, Kritavarma and Kripacharya, the old man, all of them sneaked into the Pandava camp. First thing is they stabbed Drishtadyumna, who killed Dronacharya, Drupada's son. Next thing is, they thought Pandavas were lying down, and Ashwatthama went and slit their throats and cut their heads off, the 5 heads in his hand. He came running to where Duryodhana was. Duryodhana was lying there in excruciating pain. But in the moonlight, he saw Ashwatthama coming with 5 heads in his hand, and a joy spread through him. He thought Ashwatthama has killed the 5 Pandavas and brought their heads as an offering to him. Even Ashwatthama believed that he has killed the Pandavas. But when they came, it was the 5 children of Pandavas, 5 of the Draupadi's children. He slit their throats, cut their heads off and brought it and put it at Duryodhana's feet. When they realized it's the children, then Duryodhana dies there, Ashwatthama leaves, kind of loses his mind, goes and stays in some ashram. The Pandavas hear the wailing of the woman early morning. Then, not knowing what happened, they come running to their camp to find all the 5 children have been killed in their sleep. Now, nobody had gone this far. You don't kill a sleeping man, that too children. Draupadi, having won the war, having all her enemies killed, all she wanted happened, but now her own 5 sons dead. Now she screamed in rage once again, I want Ashwatthama's head. Arjuna vowed that I will take his head, and they went for him. Then the Pandavas pursued Ashwatthama because he killed the 5 Pandava children and found him, and a duel ensued between Arjuna and Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama, desperate, almost a deranged man by now, pulled out a Brahmastra. We do not know what this Brahmastra is, but Vyasa's description of the Brahmastra is very close to today our descriptions of a nuclear weapon. He's saying if he lets it out and if it finds its full effect, he's saying the whole world will be destroyed. So, because Ashwatthama released a Brahmastra, Arjuna also released a Brahmastra. Then Vyasa and Krishna interfere and say, withdraw it. Whatever may be your anger, whatever may be your hatred, whatever may be your cause, you cannot use the Brahmastra because everybody will be destroyed, the planet will be destroyed. Withdraw it. Arjuna withdraws it, but Ashwatthama does not know how to withdraw it. So, they order him to neutralize it. He says, I cannot neutralize it, I can redirect it. And because the meanness of his heart, he says, I will redirect it to the future Pandavas to be born, yet to be born Pandavas, so that their clan will never exist. The only Pandava child or the Pandava lineage which is still in the mother's womb is in the womb of Uttara, Abhimanyu's wife.
So it affects that child, and no other children will be born after this because of Ashwatthama's usage of this Brahmastra. So it is like they diffused the bomb, but they couldn't stop the radiation. The descriptions sound very much like that. I don't know how they got to this.
Ashwatthama always wore a magical jewel in his forehead. That was his power. So when he went there, when Arjuna and the other Pandavas went there to kill Ashwatthama, a rishi comes in between and he says, there's no need to kill a Brahmana and you will get that. It's not a battlefield. Just killing a Brahmana here will not be good for you. Then Arjuna decides it is better to cut the jewel off his forehead, because without the jewel, he is powerless and he will lose his mind completely. So they forcefully pluck the jewel off his forehead and bring that as an offering to Draupadi, and they go back to Hastinapur. What happens after the war, usually in most places, is worse than the war itself. And that is what started unfolding.
In this 21st century, you yourself as Sadhguru and Isha meditators, how can we choose the date, day or any yogic kriya, we can choose our own?
You're talking about me or you?
Or you and including all Isha meditators, can you elaborate how we can choose our own destined date?
If I just as much as talk about all of you dying on a particular day, it'll be bad for me. Don't worry about the death. What you need to do about right now is to take charge of the life within you. When I say take charge of the life within you, I mean take charge of the life within you. Right now, when I say your life, most of you think, yes, Sadhguru, my profession, my wife, my child, my husband, yesterday was in a party. No, I'm talking about the life that you are, not the life that you do, the life that you are. Only because you are alive, you play it out on the outside, isn't it? Yes or no? First look at the life within you. Right now, Your idea of life is not even your thought and emotion. Your idea of life is the things that you own, or at the most people around you. This is not life. These are things which come and go, whether you like it or you don't like it. The problem of modern life is, goddamn, life is too secure and you're even insured. If you were here 5,000 years ago, you don't know how long you will live, you don't know when you will die or somebody will help you. Too much protection today, too much protection. You are saying your life is so secure that you can postpone it to live in your grave. Yes, it is so secure. You are thinking, I will live in my grave, what's the problem? It's so safe. I even have an insurance. Even if I die, they'll give me money. That's nice, isn't it? Even if I die, they'll give me money. Isn't it good? Do not think in terms of how can I determine the date of my death. First of all, determine this, can you live the way you want right now? Can you make this life throb the way you want it right now? If you cannot even do that, then how can you decide when to leave, when to come? It's all compulsive nonsense. If you can sit here and make your life energies do whatever you want right now, then we can talk about bigger things. You don't know how to walk. Now you're asking Sadhguru, how do I get a gold medal in London Olympics in gymnastics? They may not even allow you for the opening ceremony. They may not even let you carry a flag or let you sweep the Olympic grounds, because even for that you must be little more balanced. So, if you want to win a gold medal in Olympics, at least you must be able to do a little somersault. If you show me, Sadhguru, I can do all this, can I get Olympic gold medal? We can say, come, be a gymnastic trainer in the Isha home school. Maybe. That also is not guaranteed. There also they will check you. If you are no good, they usually… there's a river at the back of the school. This is very important that there should be appropriateness to your life. When I say appropriateness, if you can sit here and at least, if I want my energies in my thumb, I can get it there. If I want my energies into this place, I can get it there. If I want to throw it out and do a little yo-yo, I can do it. If you can show me that many tricks, then I can tell you, see, to die when you want to die, it's like this. Now you don't know where it is, then you're talking about exiting the body when you feel like it. You know, exiting the body at your choice, you know what this means? It means having a certain mastery over the creation. It means that you are one up on the Creator. Yes? You're little being over smart on the Creator, that you are not going by His laws, you're making your own law about when to go. So before we talk about something, let's do something more appropriate, something little bit. If you can yo-yo your energy a little bit, if you can throw your life and put it back, or at least within this body you can do little circus, then we'll talk about Olympics. London is too close, we can talk about something. Are you married, man? Are you married, man? You married? Then somebody else will decide, don't worry. Either they'll let you die or they won't let you die, whichever way.
How could Duryodhana tell Bhishma that Krishna is only a cowherd, what can he do? After experiencing what happened when he and Karna tried to imprison Krishna, take him prisoner, and Krishna displayed that energy where he could realize he's much bigger than what they thought Krishna was.
Now I'm not trying to get mean, okay? But I just going to be little mean. People will come to a Bhava Spandana program, or just after this program we'll have a Samyama event here. You will see when they come to that program, they will see certain things, they will experience certain things. People will crawl here, Sadhguru, you are everything. You are bigger than Shiva, this, that, everything they will say, many of them. You should see what they will say after 15 days, after 1 month, after 3 months, after 6 months, after 1 year. Some of them are saying, I'm the most horrible creature on the planet. I am not shocked by this, because I've seen too much of this. It's only people that you took into little more inner circle when they do it, it hurts a bit. But with others, they have the right to turn whichever way they want. If Arjuna had said this, probably Krishna would have retired. Okay. If you think so, what's the point being here? Duryodhana is saying that, it's okay with him, he's not expecting anything more than that. So 1,000 people say all kinds of things, the same people who crawled at you and said you are God. Every 15 days as the moon cycles happen, they'll unwind themselves. And some of them will turn negative, some of them will turn deadly enemies against you. All this will happen. It's not that it will happen, it's happening every day. Duryodhana saying that, Dushasana saying that, because all of them witness, Karna saying that, Krishna is not bothered, he's going about with his life and action. But just in case Arjuna had said it, then he would have left. He wouldn't have further action, I'm sure of that. So, that's the nature of life. Don't roll back with the moon, let's roll forward with the moon. You stand the wrong way, you'll roll back with the moon cycles. If you stand the right way, you'll move forward with the moon cycles. This is the beauty of the existence. It is moving you. It is not leaving you stagnant. The worst curse would be if it left you stagnant. This existence is too compassionate for you that it'll keep you moving. It's for you to position yourself right so that you move in the right direction, that's all. Easy, isn't it? If it was a stagnant pool of water, if every moment if you had to swim, it would be too strenuous. Now, it is moving you. You just have to position yourself right. That's all the Pandavas did. They positioned themselves right. Their lives moved in one direction. Kauravas positioned themselves in a different way. Their lives moved in a different direction. So this is the nature of the existence. It is always moving you. You just have to position yourself. With what will you align yourself? That will determine everything. We'll come back to this. Anyway, we'll come back right now that you brought this up. We were talking about the talking head, you know? Barbaric. So, this head sat on top of the hill and watched the whole game. When Dronacharya was killed, after that Arjuna kind of raging now because Karna is going to be the commander and he wants to kill him. All these days Krishna was kind of pampering and babysitting Arjuna. Now he came out. Arjuna, you just know this. You are not the greatest archer. Any day, with eyes closed, Karna will be a better archer than you. Arjuna was shocked. Krishna, you are saying this to me. Krishna said, I am telling you the truth. Tomorrow you're going to battle with that man. So you better know the truth. Fancy things you can believe from distance. When you come close up, you better know it. Tomorrow you're going to battle the man. I want you to know he is a better archer than you any day. He has Indra Shakti with him and a few others, ayudas with him. If Indra had not taken that kavacha, his armor and his kundalas, if these two things were not taken from him, please know this, he can defeat you and kill you. He can defeat Indra himself and kill him. Why Indra? He can defeat me and he can kill me. I want you to know this. Even I could not take him in battle if he had his kavacha and kundala. That is the reason why it was removed, for your sake. But still, don't take him for granted. Do not believe you are superior to him. You are not superior to him. As long as the Shakti is in his hands, he will kill you effortlessly. Arjuna is kind of disillusioned. He's always walking around with his aura of being the greatest warrior on the planet. He was completely disillusioned. Krishna, you are saying this to me, that I am not the greatest archer? Krishna said, absolutely you are not the greatest archer. And after the war is over, Pandava soldiers, who are few left, they wanted to know in this battle who was the greatest warrior, who fought better than whom. They came and asked Krishna, who was the best warrior in this battle of 18 days? 18 days of absolute brutality and slaughter. Who was the best man in this? Krishna laughed and he said, why don't you go and ask Barbaric? He's been sitting there having a gallery view. He's in the stadium. He's looking at the whole game absolutely without missing anything. I've been into so many situations, I would have definitely missed something, ask him, he will know. So they went to Barbaric's head, which was sitting there on the mountain, and they asked, who is the greatest warrior? Who made this… who achieved the victory? Which warrior was the determining factor? So Barbaric said, it was neither Arjuna, nor Karna, nor Bhishma, nor Drona, nor Ashwatthama, nor Drishtadyumna, nor Pandavas, nor Kauravas who decided the course of this war. It was Vishnu in a deceptive form. It is the Sudarshana Chakra which won the war. It is the Sudarshana Chakra which caused the slaughter. From this point, from this vantage point, I could not see anybody killing anybody. I only saw Sudarshana Chakra going around and doing all the killing. So that's the gallery view. If you are little… see, the symbolism is, if you are little above, you would see it clearly. When you're in it, that's what Krishna is saying, I was in it, so I could see. You ask that guy, he's sitting above. One who is above always notices things better than people who are in the thick of life, isn't it? So it is based on this, everywhere they're talking about being a witness to your own life. If you're above, you would see it clearly. If you're in it, you can easily get lost in the turmoil of the situation.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय 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 वासुदेवाय वासुदेवाय।
भारतं महाभारतं धर्म अधर्म संघर्षणम् पक्षि प्राणि मानव च देव धर्म अधर्म पांचालिका ज्ञान प्रभासित दिव्य जीवम् सर्वे सर्वमहामृतम् सर्वे सर्वमहामृतम् भारतम् to succeed in one's endeavor, whatever that may be. There are three aspects. One is intelligence and skill, another is grace, another is proper alignment of situations, which usually we call as luck. Intelligence and skill, grace and luck. So when Pandavas went into rolling the dice, skill definitely they did not have in rolling the dice. Grace, which was their Krishna, they did not take him with them, nor did they even inform him. Their luck was Draupadi and she was not there. With these three things absent, a man gets into action, he's inviting disaster for sure. How to know whether you have the needed intelligence or skill? If you think whether I have it or not, you may become unreasonably diffident about yourself. If you think you have it, you may become confident and stupid. So how? There is no how for that. The only thing is to take the grace with you and learn to be sensitive to what's happening around you. The whole existence is speaking every moment of existence. Everything is speaking. People don't listen. People cannot listen because too much is happening, their own talk is happening in their head, they cannot listen. They can neither listen to grace nor to the alignment of the existence. And the danger of speaking on these terms is, now there are a lot of scatterbrains who suddenly hear coconut trees telling them something. That's a danger. So to listen does not mean to imagine. You can only be listening when you're not talking, isn't it? Do you understand this much? Yes, you understand this much. No, I'm listening, music is going on, I'm listening. No, you are hearing. Hearing is not listening. Hearing unfortunately happens, whether you like it or not. Hearing causes distress to the mind. Listening brings mind to stillness. If you listen to something, you will see your mind will become focused and still. If you're simply hearing things, mind will become distressed. That is the effect of noise. But even if it is noise, what is considered to be noise, if you listen carefully, it will bring your mind to stillness. Music is just noise, properly arranged. It just sounds properly arranged, isn't it? And the quality of the music is enhanced many fold depending upon the quality of listening. The quality of the music is not just with the musician, the quality of the music is with the listener. How keenly one listens. These three aspects for successful action flows right through Mahabharata. We will touch upon it a little later. During the war, there are certain moments when they listened. There are certain moments they won't listen. Now if you have to listen, you need faith. You need faith in somebody to listen. Otherwise you hear things and do your own rubbish again. At certain moments, the Pandavas listened. Then their lives rose. At certain moments, they listen, what is convenient for me, I will listen, rest I'll do my own thing. Whenever they did that, they went down. Because listening needs faith, and faith in Kauravas is always down. They have no faith in anything or anybody. Pandavas' faith is wavering. When it is on, they will rise and soar. When it is not on, they're down. Where there is no faith, there will be anxiety and fear. Where there is fear, rage will come. When rage comes, conflict will come. That is the essence of the story. Whenever there is faith in them, they are fearless. When they are fearless, there is no rage. When there is no rage, they act purposefully. But whenever there is no faith, there is fear. When there is fear, there is rage. When there is rage, they lose their sense of purpose, they lose their faculties as to how they're functioning. And life runs on this. Because when there is faith, there is no fear. When there is no fear, there is no rage in your heart. When there is no rage in your heart, you will act to the purpose of your life without even knowing it intellectually, fulfilling your natural dharma without even being conscious of it. And that's the way to act, because the moment you become conscious, your thoughts will create contradictory debates in your mind. Is this it? Is that it? Endlessly it'll go on. I want you to understand this. People think they can debate and come to a conclusion. You can debate and come to a conclusion only if your opponent is an idiot. If two really intelligent people sit on the smallest aspect of life, how to make a dosa, we can debate for the rest of eternity. There is so much to making a dosa, I'm saying. Yes. There is so much to making… The simple act of making a dosa can be debated for the rest of our lives and beyond. Because in every action, if you go on looking, the intricacy of it will grow to limitless proportions. So, you can settle issues by debate only when your opponent is stupid or you are stupid. Otherwise, a debate does not lead you on. The intellect that you have, unfortunately, the modern intellect is trained for debate. They think questioning something or debating about something is intelligence. No, this is just entertainment. The reason why you have been given an intellect is like a knife. If you don't let your intellect be dulled by being identified with anything, if you sit here not as a man, not as a woman, not as a Hindu, not as a Muslim, not this, not that, not Indian, not this, simply if you sit here, your intellect has the power to penetrate through the creation. If you debate, you can only debate with the information that you have. Your information about this cosmos, is it great? I'm asking you. You do not even know what's an atom yet. You do not even know one cell in this body yet. With this information, you cause debate. It is just entertainment. You're just misusing or disusing your intelligence and intellect. If you keep your intellect constantly clean, that your intellect is not identified with anything, it's simply looking, it is like a hot knife, it will cut through everything. You will see everything the way it is. The intellect is given to aid your eyes, ears, all the five senses. Senses are a problem because your intellect is identified with something or the other. Otherwise five senses are five miracles. People who are going about saying sense organs are the problem, poke their eyes out, cut their nose out, cut their tongue out, maybe they will become enlightened. You think so? If senses are the problem, let's poke out whatever we can. We can definitely poke the eardrum, we can definitely poke the eyes, cut the nose out, cut the tongue out, four are gone, only one is left. That one also can be burnt out. Senses are miracles, but the miracle will work only if the intellect is unidentified. If the intellect is not identified either with the body or the mind or this or that, if it is sitting here in a dispassionate manner, now this will slice through everything. Now you will see senses are miracles. 5 miracles that everybody should know. 5 miracles that have come to you free of cost. Dhritarashtra came with 4, so you have to pardon him. But you have no pardon because you come with 5. And you're not any less blind. Yes?
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. You had mentioned that in order for a person to be successful, there are 3 factors, intellect, grace and luck.
I also said skill.
Skill, intellect, grace and…
I said intelligence.
Intelligence. Not considered…
Because… no, intellectual people need not be successful, that's what I'm telling you. Because they live in their mind. They may be very intellectual. Most intellectuals are not successful in their life, isn't it?
Skill
I want you to get this right, it's not a small transgression. It's a world of transgression. Intelligence and skill, not intellect.
My question is about the grace and the luck bit, Sadhguru. I thought if you had grace, then luck just automatically followed. That luck was a byproduct of grace.
Yes. Now, taking Mahabharata as the sample,
Krishna is their grace, Draupadi is their luck. You need to understand, almost very forcefully, Drupada is offering Draupadi as a wife to Krishna, but in a way, he gives Draupadi to the Pandavas. Isn't luck a byproduct of the grace? A stunningly beautiful woman, he could have married her, he would have been the king. Marrying Draupadi would have made him immensely powerful. Panchala forces would be with him. Panchala and Dwaraka put together, they would be a phenomenal force. No, he gave away Draupadi to the Pandavas. That's his grace and that's their luck. So, if you are under the influence of grace, you will not walk like this. You know, I see somebody walking in a certain way. I take this very seriously, how somebody walks in the ashram. Unconcerned, if somebody walks, that man is heading for a disaster, he doesn't know, that's all. Nobody can come to well-being through somebody else's suffering. If you walk unconcerned through your life, you will essentially cause suffering, isn't it? If you walk unconcerned, every step that you take, you will step on something, isn't it? Not just the physical steps, the steps of your life. If you believe you can cause suffering to somebody and out of that you can benefit, that will be a temporary benefit. You will pay for it in ways that you will not understand and in ways that you cannot bear. Nobody can escape this. This is not crime and punishment business, it is just a consequence of your action. I want you to understand the difference between crime and punishment. Crime means you commit the crime, somebody punishes you. No, that is not how it is, that is not what karma is. Karma is just a consequence of your own action. If you throw a stone up, gravity is not trying to hit you down with a stone. It is your stone which comes back and knocks you on your head. That is karma. It is not the concept of crime and punishment, it is the consequence of action. This distinction is very needed because people always think if I do this karma, somebody will punish me. Nobody need to punish you, that is the beauty of it. You are enough. The way you are enough. Nobody need to punish you. If you are in an unconcerned kind of mode, I go sometimes hard on people who are walking like this in the ashram. I think in one of the darshans I was speaking, I was in United States and I happened to visit a school. School children means, I've gotten used to the home school children and Samskriti children. I go there, these are all 15, 16, less than 17-year-olds. They are all oversized. Oversized because, see, this oversized children are not good, I'm telling you. Growing up children must be little scrawny, not starved of nourishment. These oversizes happen not because of nourishment, but due to lack of activity. Children are becoming oversized not because nourishment is great. However much nourishment you have, a growing up child, if he is active as he should be, he will only be skinny. He may become muscular, but he cannot gather mass. They have become oversized because they lack physical activity. Big, like this. And they walk like this. Both boys and girls. It really pained me. Young people, why have they become like this? Because they opened up the internet, they think they know the whole world. Really, that is the main thing. There is nothing that they don't know. They opened up the internet and seen everything that a child should not even know, and they think they know the universe now. That arrogance is like… The affluence
and they think that they're knowledgeable, together, physical affluence, the material affluence, and the idea that I have attained to something, this level of arrogance is unbelievable. And when I saw this, tears came to me. Why have children in this world become like this? Why such arrogance? This will not lead to well-being. This cannot lead to well-being. If they live well, if they really live well, that means I must die a horrible death. I'm saying this because in the very nature of things it is not possible. If you walk like this, if this arrogance is there in your step, you cannot live well. You may have everything, but you will burn like hell within yourself. It's happening, isn't it? Isn't it happening? This is not a curse. I am not cursing anybody. I am saying, if you live without knowing the consequence of your action, you are stupid, that's all it is. It is the stupidity, it is the lack of intelligence and too much of intellect. There is your growth is not happening homogeneously, in a rapport with the existence. It is all happening within you. This is a dangerous growth. People will pay a very heavy price for this, and the whole world is tending to go this way. These are people who are smelling lemon eau de cologne, hair is gelled, this man. These are the people. Let me describe it. Another came with his body fragrant like lemon leaves. Old Spice, huh? With a smirk on his lips, well-oiled hair, you can make it gel. All dharma is illusion. I eat, drink, enjoy myself as I like. My body is my only shrine. The pleasures of the flesh or my rituals of worship, beyond them there is nothing, after me there is nothing. Krishna says, you are a child of demon, I will not let you pass, I cannot forgive you for who you are. When he says this, he is not talking as a person, he is talking as existence, that is why he is asleep. He as a person is asleep and he is speaking as existence. This will not bring well-being. So, if you are under the influence of grace, we don't have to teach you how to walk. Walk need not be a pretense, you will walk with a certain gentleness. There will be a certain concern in what you do. If this is there is a natural intelligence within you to wait for the right alignment of things in your life. You will not force it. Luck will naturally happen. Are they two separate things? All the three are not separate things. If you have no intelligence, grace will not come your way. It does not need intellect, it does not need a PhD, but it needs intelligence. Intelligence means you're in tune with existence. A farmer who's plowing the field, who's never been to school, cannot understand all the rubbish we are talking about. He may be far more intelligent than you because he's more in tune with the existence. Tomorrow, let's say there's a flood or a thing or whatever, let's say all your structures and the conveniences that are built have disappeared. Tomorrow, if you and that man are put out there, you will see he will survive way better than you. Under all kinds of structures, when the computer is there, you will make him look like a fool. But if you're just left out in the forest, you will see the tribal in the Danikandi will joyfully be lost in the forest. You will be terrified and die of starvation. So intelligence is not thinking up something. Intelligence means you have yoked yourself with the creation. and you're in tune with the creation. This is what dhyana means. This is what meditation means. This is what yoga means. The word yoga means to yoke yourself with the creation in such a way that you function in a brilliant manner, no more out of your intellect, out of sheer intelligence, and that intelligence is not yours. That is the intelligence of the creation and the creator. See, in this war, already a few people are set. When I say set, some people are born to kill certain people. Amba is born as Shikandi to kill Bhishma. Drishtadyumna is born out of fire to kill Drona. Like this, a few people are set. So nobody wants to deny them their destiny. When I say deny them their destiny, the nature of the destiny is such that it is pointing at a certain direction because of a certain accumulation of stuff that has happened in the past. Either you can fulfill it now or tomorrow. You can fulfill it here or somewhere else. Or sometimes, if you have the necessary power and discrimination about your own life. When I say discrimination about your own life, that you're able to discriminate between what is your mind, what is your karma and what is the life within you. If you're able to discriminate, then you can place this destiny into somebody else's hands. Or you can place your destiny into somebody else's hands out of utter devotion, that you don't keep your life in your own hands. This is what the Pandavas did. Just before the war, when all these peace things were going on, Yudhishthira said, I don't want war, but Krishna, I will place it in your hands. My life and the lives of my 4 brothers and Draupadi, I will place it in your hands. Whichever way you conduct it, I will go about it without hesitation. And he kept his word. Though he is the one who is always hesitating right through, once the war came, he did not hesitate. He went and did his best. But he is not a warrior of the class of Arjuna. It is Arjuna who can make the difference on the battlefield. Yudhishthira will fight. It is Arjuna who can really make the difference. And he was hesitating. Destiny is not a done thing. It's a string that makes a garland, a flower, bead or bone. It depends. It's only a string. But whether you wear a garland of flowers or beads or bones is determined now by your karma, not by your destiny. Destiny is only a string, it hangs around your neck. You can make it a mala of flowers or beads or bones. You may wear it now or later, here or there, or you may place it upon the bosom of another. But even a flower shall not fall without the tug of the string. Nothing other than that will happen in its essence. This is like the skeletal system of your body. The skeletal system of your body is definitely determining the shape of your body, yes? So you think some of you have this kind of bones? No. It is setting up a certain basis, but the rest is you, isn't it? Whether you become like this or like that is you. So, it is like this destiny is like the skeletal system, it is always there. We don't see the bones, but it is there. If the bones were not there, this flesh wouldn't stand up for a moment. But still, it is the flesh which is determining who you are right now, how you look, what you do, what you don't do. Everything is determined by the flesh that you carry, not by the bones that you have. But still, without the bones, the flesh wouldn't be standing like this. So this is the nature of destiny. So Krishna is constantly reminding, if you tell these guys, I am with you, they think they don't have to do anything. If you tell them, I am not with you, you do your thing, then they will get into mental confusions and nonsense and fear and do all kinds of stupid things. To get this balance in life, there is certain aspects of our lives which are 100%, the track is laid, but the rest of the journey can be created. How beautiful we make it, how ugly we make it, where we go, what we do, everything is determined by your karma now. But there is a destiny that you cannot deny. So, Krishna is constantly reminding them, now you're saying I'm your God, now you're saying I'm your guru. So my business with you is that the bones don't fall apart. Flesh, blood, brain is your business. Repeatedly he is telling them. In so many ways it is being said, but every time people will try to subvert the teaching, as every one of you will do, every moment of your life. Really, please see. If it's convenient, you'll fall this way. If it's not convenient, you'll fall that way. Just… this is the reason why continuously people have spoken about dispassion, is just this. You don't see in terms of what you like and you don't like. You do not see life in terms of what is convenient and inconvenient. You set it and just go. If it's life, death, you go. If you just have this dispassion, then you will not derail yourself from your destiny. If I derail myself from my destiny, what happens? You will do it later, that's all. You will not escape it, you will do it later, not here, somewhere else. If postponement you think is a better thing than doing it now, that's up to you, but I think that's a way in life. Something that can be done in this life must be done in this life. Why postpone it to the next one? Or why even create a next one? So one who is wise, one who knows the nature of his life, even intellectually understands the nature of his existence, not by experience. Even if he read it in a book, if he understands that, then he should not postpone his destiny. He must deal with it now and now. So the very essence of spiritual process is just this, to deal with your destiny now. Destiny is not… your bones are not determining where you go and where you don't go, isn't it? Your bones are not making a decision what you should do and what you should not do. But without bones, you will not go anywhere.
It's about the poem Destiny that you showed the other day. It says that if you choose to fulfill the destiny or not, like we could procrastinate or later, do it later. So my question is it like already known what the person will choose? The reason why I'm asking, in the story, Krishna goes to Hastinapur before the war, and he offers the that the Kauravas would give 5 villages and they could avoid the war. But he knows that they will choose the war, still he goes. So to what extent is it known what the person will choose in their lifetime, what choice they will make? Is it already written, the choices they'll make?
What's your name?
Dunya.
So right now, if I give you a mission, Dunya, stand up a moment. If I ask you, Dunya, you stay here in the ashram, in 1 month's time, become 6 inches taller than who you are right now. Will you take up the project? Just tell me yes or no.
Yes.
You will? Successfully will you take up the project? You must be 6 inches taller in 1 month's time. We'll give you the best nourishment you want.
Well, I wouldn't believe it, but I would try, like to see if it's gonna work or not.
You're trying to give me the bull. Would you try? You would go and say, Sadhguru has lost his mind. Yes or no?
Yeah.
If I tell you, in the next 1 month, Dunya, you must put on 6 kilograms of weight. There is a purpose for this. Could you do it?
Yes.
Or if I tell you in the next 1 month you must lose 6 kilograms of weight, could you do it?
Yes.
That's all destiny is. You can't change the skeletal system, but everything else you can change. If I tell you in the next session, please wear red clothes and come, can you do it?
Yes.
In the next one, wear yellow clothes and come, could you do it? Yes. If I ask you to put on weight, you could do it. If I ask you to lose weight, you could do it. But you can't grow taller, isn't it? The destiny is just that. You can't change the bones, you can change the flesh. You can learn to use the bones better. You also have a body. For example, these boys who are performing, and many of our boys, they also have a body. They have less flesh than you. But you cannot use your body the way they use it. Yes or no? So what is it that they have done? They just learn to use the body better, isn't it? So if you can learn to use the body better, you can also learn to use your brain better. You can also learn to use your emotions better. You can also learn to use your life energies better. So even though you will not grow any taller, if you learn to use all these things better, you will be in a different dimension of life. So when you go out, if you are made like this, that you are naturally drawn to the desert first, you want to eat the sweets, you want to make a lunch out of that, because they have a chocolate souffle, today's dessert. The whole thing that's kept there, you thought that was your plate. Suppose this is your inclination. Today if I tell you, Dunya, don't eat the chocolate anymore. Your body craves, but still you can say, Sadhguru said I should not eat. Go sit there and eat one dry roti. You can do it, right? So, you can change your destiny, but you can't grow taller. But you can put on heels and add 6 inches and walk around. You can walk on stilts if you want, or you can sit on somebody else's shoulders and walk. Yes, all these things we can do in the world, isn't it? But you can't grow any taller. So, the limitation of destiny is only that much. Don't exaggerate it. It has a limitation, but you are not looking at all the other possibilities, because this has become the human mindset. When they say, I am human, they're only referring to their humanity as a limitation, not as a possibility. I want you to look at being human as a possibility for the immensity of what it is, for the limitless possibility of what it is. To open up a big door, you don't need a big keyhole. A little keyhole if you open, it opens up a big door and it opens up a much bigger world out there, isn't it? So don't get into this mindset, oh, if I have to open a big door, I need a big keyhole and a big key. No, with a little key, you can open up a big door and a whole world to yourself, isn't it? So that's why, for the first time I'm talking destiny. Always anybody talks destiny, I will trample them because they will exaggerate that and limit their lives unnecessarily. But is there no such thing? There is such a thing. But once Mahabharata is over, you must banish it from your mind. You must go with inner engineering, which does not believe in destiny. Because what is fixed, what is there to do about it? Live it. What is not fixed, that is what we need to work with it, isn't it? Yes or no? What is already fixed, what is the point thinking about it, working about it? There's nothing to do about it. Ignore it from your life. Let us focus on what we can do something about. What cannot be changed is not your business. What can be changed is your business, isn't it? Having finished with the war, now they all move towards Hastinapur. Having fought such inevitably we have to call it a great war or a gory war. When kings return, usually there is celebration. But when they returned, all they heard was wailing of the widows, orphan children crying. All they heard was distress, pain, grief. Yudhishthira's heart shook and he just heard the sounds of misery, sounds of grief in such intensity because there is no man who is not dead in Hastinapur. All men who had 2 limbs, 4 limbs are dead because they all went for the battle and they all got killed. So just about mothers, widows, children, when the kings entered, when the Pandavas entered, the wailing rose. Some in grief, some in anger, some in total hatred towards the Pandavas, which they had never witnessed. Always people loved them. For the first time, they could see daggers in people's eyes because they caused this whole thing. Yudhishthira's heart shook. And what is all this for? I never wanted to be the king. Why did I cause this?
The winds of change will blow once more and leave me hanging on. Arms to hold, held up arms and can no longer hold me. Come back to me with only empty echoes in return. Ruins remain, born of this pain, born of this pain. The fates they came and like puppets we were played, fed by the fires of rage, rage to ruins. Cold winds blow in my hollow home. In the fireless pyre we are left to burn. Tell me now, can you even recall what for? What for? What for?
So when they came back to the palace, first thing was, they went to meet Dhritarashtra. When they met him, he spoke words of peace. He said, you were the sons of Pandu, in many ways, have been truthful and righteous. But my son, out of his arrogance, he brought this upon himself and he brought this upon all of us. So it does not matter. This is rightfully yours now. You rule this country. Then he said, I want to particularly see Bhima. Bhima was about to go forward, Krishna stopped him and asked… there was a statue of a wrestler Krishna said, put the statue in front of Dhritarashtra, a metal statue. So Bhima put the statue in front of Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra hugged the statue thinking it is Bhima and just crushed it. Dhritarashtra is always known to be extraordinarily strong, and he just crushed the statue. He wanted to kill Bhima because he could not come to terms with how Duryodhana was killed, how Dushasana was killed and Bhima ate his heart in the battlefield. He drank his blood. So he wanted to end Bhima, but Krishna foresaw this and placed a metal statue which he crushed. With his mind revealed, words of peace and reconciliation spilling out, but what is raging in his heart came out in this act. When you're helpless, the weak always talk peace. It is meaningless. When you're strong, when you're capable of doing things, if you talk peace, it is meaningful peace. When you're incapable, you talk about peace, it is like a beggar talking about renunciation. A beggar says, I've renounced everything, look at me, I'm like a sage. He doesn't have anything. What is there to renounce? If a king renounces something, you got nothing and you renounce, it means nothing. So Yudhishthira is coronated as the king, and when he comes for blessing to Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, Gandhari says, putting up a loving face, she says, I want to see Yudhishthira once the new king, so I will undo my blindfold and I want to look at him. Krishna immediately senses what this is. One brother among the Kauravas had survived the war because when Yudhishthira came suing for peace, he came unarmed. When he came unarmed, Duryodhana and Karna want to take him in. They want to imprison him right there. One of the brothers, whose name was Durdasa, stood up, drew his sword and he said, nobody is going to take an unarmed man who has come to sue for peace, and he protected. So Yudhishthira looked at him and said, I will ensure that you do not die before me. Because he did this to Yudhishthira, Bhima also came in and said, I will ensure that you do not die before me. So Durdasa was not killed, he lived on. Now Gandhari wants to see Yudhishthira once, the new king. Krishna looks at Yudhishthira and asks him to stand aside, and he brings Durdasa in front of Gandhari. And she opens her eyes and looks, Durdasa just catches fire and burns up. Her intention was to burn up Yudhishthira, but she burnt up her own son. So now totally hands and legs tied, the old people try to settle down. Yudhishthira treats them with utmost respect, gives them the maximum comfort possible, but Bhima won't let it rest. At every possible opportunity, he taunts them, he provokes them, he teases them, he insults them in every possible way. Dhritarashtra is known to be a big eater, and when he slurps, he says, that is the sound I heard when I sucked on Dushasana's heart, that's how it sounded. That's how it was. And when he bites on a bone, he says, this is how when I broke Duryodhana's thigh, this is how it sounded. Like this, he goes about insulting him in every possible way. But Dhritarashtra is too attached to his comforts and his palace and the blindness. Normally, in those days, once your son has a son, you leave to the forest, Vanaprastha that is called. But Dhritarashtra is not leaving. One thing is his blindness, another thing is man is heavily attached to all the comforts that he's enjoying. When Bhima's insults become unbearable and Bhima won't spare them a single day, he will make sure they're miserable on a daily basis. Whatever Yudhishthira tries to stop him, Bhima won't listen. Doesn't matter, we fought the battle, still he tried to crush me, still the old woman tried to burn you. No, there is no charity in my heart for them. So Vidura advises Dhritarashtra, this place is no more good for you. You must leave to the forest as it is appropriate for a man of your age. You don't need encouragement, you should have anyway left. But I am telling you, it's time to leave before you do nothing for yourself. For your inner nature, you have not done anything. Your whole life has been busy trying to protect the evil of your sons. At least now it's time to do something, let's go to the forest. So Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, Vidura and their assistant Sanjaya, all of them move into the forest. The moment they go to a certain ashrama, Vidura takes to serious spiritual sadhana. He's already like an ascetic and he goes totally off. He leaves them and moves into a cave, and only once he's seen after that, and then he leaves his body. These three somehow going about. Now the final leg of their life, Kunti and Gandhari together. Though they maintain some kind of civility on the surface, there has been a bigger battle between them than Kurukshetra. More blood has flown within themselves, more meanness has been expressed within themselves, but because of the social circumstance and the position of being queens, they handled it on the surface in a certain way. But now the final leg of their life, they're put together with the blind man. So on a certain day, the forest fire happened and Yudhishthira smelt the smoke and the heat and he said, "It looks like there is a forest fire, let us escape." Gandhari, who had become a very strong devotee of Shiva, she said, "What for?" And Kunti said, "Indeed, what for? Why do we want to escape this fire?" And they just sat there and the forest fire just engulfed them. That ended one generation of the Kurus. Back here in the palace, for the next 36 years, Yudhishthira ruled as justly, as evenly as he could. The other brothers went out and conquered many other lands and expanded the empire. They conducted an Ashwamedha Yaga. Ashwamedha Yaga means they choose a particular kind of a horse and let it loose. After doing various kinds of rituals with the horse, they let the horse loose and the horse just runs free. People will follow. Whichever kingdom it enters, either the king has to supplicate to the emperor or he has to give battle. So the horse just runs loose and wherever it goes. So they expanded the empire in a huge way, and when the horse came back, they sacrificed the horse and the king is to eat the organs of this horse because the horse has been consecrated in a certain way to give strength and prosperity to the kingdom, and they brought much prosperity to the Kuru kingdom, ruled well. Krishna went back to Dwaraka, along with his Yadavas, Satyaki, Uddhava, Kritavarma. They built their empire big time in their own quarter, and Gandhari, before she left the palace, when this war was over and she burnt Durdasa, thinking it is Yudhishthira, then she told Krishna, "You are the real culprit in this whole thing. At any time, you could have brought peace. You could have played down the enmity that was there between the cousins. Instead, you took the side of Pandavas and ensured that all my sons are dead today, including the one surviving one, which you made him to be killed by me, by a mother. You made a mother kill her own son. May your Yadavas have a similar end, that they will fight among themselves and they will come to an end. And may you, who is known to be a god, people have worshipped you as a god, may you die like any common human being. May you not have a glorious death. Like my sons died in the battlefield, it's a glorious death. May you not have such a death. You must die like a common human being. And Yadavas should kill themselves, among themselves, like you made the Kurus do." So Krishna smiled and said, "Mother, what you are saying is anyway written, because who else can kill the Yadavas unless they kill each other? Yadavas cannot be killed by anybody else. They have come with this virtue that nobody can kill them. They can only kill each other. So let it be so. And how I exit this world does not matter for me. Anyway, I know how to exit, and do not worry about my destiny, focus on yours." And the Yadavas grow in prosperity. As they grow in prosperity, they will start drinking. They say every night was a party night in Dwaraka. Every night a party night, every night a drinking night. They became lecherous, they lost their morality, and affluence made them completely forget how Krishna brought them from Mathura, with what hardship this was built and everything was done. All this forgotten, particularly the next generation of Yadavas that came there, they became really loose. So one day, Krishna's son, Samba, some sages had come, and Krishna's son Samba went to the sages along with his friends, dressed like a pregnant woman, and asked the sages, "Tell me, will I have a boy or a girl?" The sages looked at him and said, "You have the imprudence to come and do this to us, disturb our way of life and try to do this to us. You will deliver an iron mace, and that mace will be the end of you and your filthy clan." So, Samba delivers an iron mace. Fearing that this may destroy his clan, he took it to the beach and smashed it into powder. Except for the last point which he could not do, rest of it he just beat it into dust and threw it in the ocean and left that one piece there. A hunter who was walking by came and looked at this one piece of metal which was sharp, and he thought it'll make a good arrowhead, and he took it with him. This dust which he threw it in the ocean again, whatever you throw into the ocean, it throws it back at you. So it threw it back onto the beach, where certain type of weeds were growing. And this kind of lecherous life continued, and every day they're drunk. Always the discussion, when people get drunk, you will see the same conversations will come back. You know what I did that day, the same that day damn thing happens every time they get drunk. So whenever they get drunk, the discussion is always the war, the Kurukshetra war. You know how I killed this guy, you know what I did to this, you know what I did to that. All the macho talk flows out. Bragging happens, one taller than the other story happening. Once the alcohol content in the body keeps increasing, the stories keep getting longer and longer and longer. So again they were discussing Kurukshetra war. So in the heat of bragging, Satyaki accused Kritavarman, you fought on the side of Kauravas. You fought against us. And only because you're a coward, you survived the war. Otherwise, I would have taken your head off. So Kritavarman said, I know whose head you can take off, an old man whose fighting arm has been severed, his head you take. You call yourself a warrior. Like this. Initially, debate, then argument, then a brawl, then a fight, then it became a battle. Foreseeing this, Krishna and Balarama had confiscated all the arms from the Yadavas. No arms in the town, because the way these guys were drinking, anytime they'll come out with their swords and bow and arrow and start shooting. So, they started fighting, beating each other with hands and sticks. When that was not enough, they went and plucked these weeds which were growing near the beach. And these weeds had taken in the mace that Samba had crushed and left there. And they said they were as hard as steel, and they beat each other and killed each other with this. A kind of a civil war happened, and Yadavas all decimated by themselves, only a handful were left. So Dwaraka, the great city, went up in a wail of the widows and mothers and children, because all Yadava males killed each other, only a handful were left. So seeing this, Balarama was greatly distressed and he decided to leave the body. When he left the body, he left his body in the form of a snake. A large serpent he became. And they say he went and became Adishesha. This is the bed of Vishnu. Krishna saw this, little distressed. His children, Pradyumna, Samba, all of them involved in the fight, all of them going like this, but he smiled. Everything going by the script. There's little sadness, but he smiled, okay, everything is going as it should. And he went and sat under a banyan tree, and he sat with his leg out here like that, and he started shaking his leg. A hunter who was hunting in the forest saw the moment through the bush and thought it was the ears of a deer and shot it. An arrow pierced his heel. With that arrowhead that the hunter picked up on the beach, initial shock and pain of being pierced in the heel, Krishna lurched a bit, then he smiled and closed his eyes. And Krishna left. Arjuna, having heard of this disaster, rushed to Dwaraka from Hastinapura, and seeing only women and children and a few old people, he decided the best thing would be to take them to Hastinapur, not leave them here with men to protect them. So he started taking them towards Hastinapur. On the way, he was attacked by the bandits, And the bandits came, took all that they had and picked up young women and children and taking them. Arjuna, the great hero, tried to pick up his Gandiva and fight them, but he found suddenly he was totally ineffective. He was no more the great archer that he was. He was no more the great warrior that he was. Common bandits could do what they want. They were taking away Yadava women and children. He could not even protect them. They were taken away. It left him in utter shame and distress. He fell on the ground and cried, "Why does it have to be this way? I could have died in the battle. That I cannot even use my archery to protect these women and children who trusted me. Why do I have to be put through this?" So he rolled on the ground and cried. Before this end of Yadavas, one incident which is of great significance happened. Uttara, who was pregnant at the time of the war, Abhimanyu's child was in her womb, and when it was born, it was stillborn. A big cry of distress happened and they called Krishna, because this is the only child left to the Kuru lineage. No other Kuru woman can ever get pregnant because of Ashwatthama's curse. And when Ashwatthama did this, Krishna cursed him, "May you wander with a deranged mind for the full length of the Kali Yuga. May you not die. All of us will have the pleasure of dying. The relief of death will come to all of us. It will not come to you. With a deranged mind, you range this planet throughout Kali Yuga, because he killed unborn children. And when this child was born, stillborn, and they called Krishna, Krishna came in and took the just born infant and put his hand over the infant's body. He spent a certain amount of time transferring his own life energy into the stillborn child, and within a few minutes, the child cried and became a fully living child. Then he came out of the room. A cry of jubilation happened inside the room. Then he came out, he was unsteady on his legs. His face was pale. He was like half alive. Nobody had ever seen him like that. Satyaki, his cousin brother and a close assistant throughout, had never ever seen Krishna. He has seen Krishna right from his childhood, had never seen Krishna like this, tottering on his legs, weak, pale, without spirit. Krishna came and sat down on a stone bench, and giving him some time, then Satyaki asked, "What is this? Why are you like this? It is just a child. You even fought the battle effortlessly." Krishna said, "This is far more difficult than fighting a war. Bringing someone to life is far more difficult than killing 1,000,000 people. I could do that effortlessly, but for this, I had to pour out my life." And he sat there pale and weak, without any energy. Nobody had ever seen him like that, without spirit, without energy, without liveliness, without joy. Nobody had ever seen him like that. Here he was sitting like half alive. And then he closed his eyes and sat in meditation in a samadhi state for a period of time, and he came back revived. But after that, he was generally a quiet man, not an exuberant Krishna that people had seen before. And after Yudhishthira being coronated, Yudhishthira is always devout, always obedient, always faithful, always honoring the elders. It may look funny in today's context, but that is what saw them through. When the four Pandavas were dead at the pool, at the Yaksha's pool, what the children depicted the other day, if it is not for his humility, probably he would have also died, or at least the four would have been dead. There have been many situations. It is Yudhishthira's humility, which looks like stupidity, which actually allowed the Pandavas to live and to succeed. He always tempered them. Otherwise, these would have done something brave and would have been killed. If you do something brave which doesn't produce any results and you get killed, that's called being stupid, not brave. That man would like to think he is brave, but he's actually stupid. You will see a puny little dog on the street, if you corner him, till a point he's so scared, but if you really corner him, he comes out brave. That's not bravery, that is a death fit. Before you die, one last burst of something. Sometimes it may produce results, sometimes it may not, but it cannot be labeled bravery. It is not bravery. Bravery is to have fear in your heart and not let it go out of control. If you're fearless, that's different. Bravery means you have cold fear in your heart, but you never let that go out of control. So, Yudhishthira and all the five brothers went to see the last point of Bhishma's life. Bhishma was all shot up with arrows and lying down in the battlefield because he has this power that he can choose his time of death. He wants to die in Uttarayana. The first Paurnami after Uttarayana, 8 days into it, he died. Just 4 days before we started Mahabharata was Bhishmashtami. You know that? Are you aware of it? No? Even the Indian people not aware. You know when is Valentine's Day? See where you have gone from profoundness to profanity. So, they all gathered around Bhishma because he is going to leave his body on that day. And Yudhishthira wants to get some benefit, some advice from Bhishma that now he has the kingdom for himself, he wants to do his best. So he asks various questions. It's a long discourse, but he will be in pain. So he looks at Krishna and he says, "There's only one wish inside of me. Krishna, please fulfill this for me. I want to see your real form. I want to see you in your full glory." So Krishna touches Bhishma's body, and one thing is, he relieves him of all pain so that he can speak to Yudhishthira. And then he shows Bhishma his full Vishwarupa Darshana only to him, experientially. Others will just stand by. And Bhishma says, "My life is fulfilled. For whatever with this pain I waited this long, I could see you and that's all, it doesn't matter. All my life, whatever I went through, my pains, my struggles, stuff, doesn't matter. This one vision that I have of you is enough for me." And now he is willing to advise Yudhishthira on whatever he wants. Yudhishthira asks 100 questions and Bhishma gives a very elaborate discourse. You'll just look through a few things that he said, just to give you an insight into his mind. Yudhishthira asks, "What is the dharma for a king?" Bhishma says, "A king's first dharma is to worship the gods and to honor brahmanas who are illuminated men." You must understand, illuminated men, okay? Not anybody who's born in a certain family. That was not the idea of Brahmana in those days. Your Brahmanahood had to be achieved, not by birth. The other dimension of him is, he must conceal his weaknesses. He must know his enemy's weaknesses and exploit it. He's telling how a king should be. Compassion must be part of a good king, but never weakness. A king must be the loneliest man in the land. He must not share his innermost thoughts with anyone, not even his closest advisors. The essence of a king's dharma is to secure his subjects' prosperity, their happiness. He must know how to employ spies and sow dissension in his enemy's city, to divide those that serve his enemy. The treasury must always be full, for king's power stems from his wealth. He must be a master of creating discord in his enemies' kingdoms. A king must have an army to defend his kingdom and his people. His spies must be the hardiest, most incorruptible men, strong and able to bear long privations, exile, cold, heat, violence and hunger. Sound like CIA? A king has to rule not only with dharma, but with adharma too. The king on whom his people rely must never hesitate to be ruthless with his enemies. He must blend trust with mistrust judiciously. He should use one minister to spy upon another. A good king levies taxes as a bee gathers pollen from the flowers, gently, without injuring his people. But of all those who are close to him, a king should fear his own blood like death. As kinsman always considers himself the king's equal or his superior, he is more envious than anyone else. So, this is a very long discourse. This is just to give you an idea of what is Bhishma's mind. His mind is just about the nation, about the nation, about the nation, whatever is needed to be done for the well-being of his nation. He is a patriot without any other concerns. That's how he lived all his life. That is the advice he's passing on to Yudhishthira, which I'm sure Yudhishthira made use of. If a king has to be a successful king for 36 years, he should have used every advice and he should have invented a few more things. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible.
He once told us that if we have the ability to foresee the future, we should not intervene with life because karma will come back and hit us much harder if we just change the course of how things should be, even if we know that bad things are happening. Throughout Mahabharata, we see Krishna foreseeing things and making sure to change it for the advantage of the Pandavas. Now my question is twofold. First of all, why did he do that, changing the course of life? And the next thing is, having done that, was this the reason why everybody has suffered tremendously in Mahabharata?
You're accusing me of something that I'll never ever do in my life. Now what you're telling is, you're driving your car, it looks like you're going to crash into a tree, but you should not change it, you should not change the steering, nor should you brake, because this looks like the destiny. Is that what you're saying? Is that what I said to you? No, you said you should not change. There are passengers in your car. Nobody should drive with her. Now, that's misunderstood. See, What I might have said, I don't know from what context you're saying this, what I might have said is, don't try to peek into the future. Because you are still not yet in such a state of mind where you can know the future and still be involved with today. Suppose you're taking an examination, but I show you the future, already you got 99. Is it enough? No, in India it's not enough. In Indians must get 100, do you know? Because if you are studying in India and if you get 99 and you go home with your report card, your mother will look at it and say, what happened to the other 1%? So in Lebanon, 99 is good, isn't it? So if I show you report card, you've not yet gone to the examination, I show you your report card, it is already written 99. Will you study tonight? You'll go on party, isn't it? Yes or no? So you should not peek into the future. If you're made like this, I show you your report card, it says 100 out of 100, still you will go ahead and do what you have to do. If you're made like this, it's all right to look into future. What this means is, if I give you a glimpse of the future, forget about experiencing the future, you will also miss the present without involvement. Where there is no involvement, there is no experience of life, isn't it? Wherever there is no involvement, there is no experience of life. If I give you a peek into the future, you will not show any involvement. If you do not show any involvement, life will bypass you. Life will bypass you for sure. So that is the reason why you don't look into the future. If you are so stable of mind, so well established within yourself, you know the future, still you will do everything that you have to do today. That's Krishna. He knows for sure it's heading this way, but he still makes all the effort that he has to make. But if you knew war is anyway going to happen, would you go and sue for peace? You'd start the war earlier, isn't it? That's why you should not know the future.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. What can we learn from the story of Ekalavya? Was he the greater archer? Seems like he's totally forgotten and lost out in this story.
What can be learned is the wicked mind of Drona and a limitless vanity of Arjuna did this situation where they can't bear somebody doing well. Drona clearly knows what he is doing is wrong. That would have been the best moment for him to knock Arjuna's head and tell him to transform himself first before he learns anything more. Yes? That would have been a great opportunity for him to do that. That's not what the Brahmana does, because he is only thinking, they will be kings tomorrow. He doesn't want to displease anybody. I'm constantly knocking people on the head, including you know this very well. Because I won't miss an opportunity of being unpopular with people. It's very easy to be popular. Wanting to be popular is a corruption, isn't it? Yes or no? Come election, our politicians are selling the nation. You see this? People are just offering what you want. Free food, free home, free television, free everything, free mukti. No, free mukti is being offered, of course with a small price. That is corruption, isn't it? So it shows the corruption of Drona's mind, the corruption of the clan that he bred later on. And that flowers into absolute meanness when Ashwatthama does what he does. Drona and Ashwatthama, together as father and son, did the most horrific things in that war. The Kshatriyas did not do that much. They had some restraint. Though they had a kingdom at stake, though their blood was boiling against each other, still they had some restraint. But Drona and Ashwatthama did the most horrible things in the whole battle. Because from the beginning, Drona is corrupt. A childhood friend, a 13-year-old boy promises him that whatever we make of our lives, we will share it. All right, he shouldn't have gone back on a promise. But there is also something else. As a 13-year-old boy, you said something, later on you become a king. And somebody comes back after 10-15 years and says, give me half your kingdom, is meanness at its worst, misuse of friendship, isn't it? Drona is saying, your child doesn't have milk, I'll give you cows, take it. 1, 2, 10, take the number of cows that you want. And easily he could have found employment in Drupada's court. He would have treated him well, he would have paid him well. Now he says, I did not come here for charity, I have come as a friend, give me half of your kingdom. What is this man? Enormously talented, but his meanness of mind and his corruption is the tragedy of Ekalavya. In the story, that's all the role Ekalavya has, a thumbless archer. Just lived an ordinary life, a tribal man, and he died. What else? What is the lesson to be learnt? This is the lesson to be learnt. If you ever teach anybody something, don't set a price to it. There is no price to it. It is a fortune that somebody is willing to receive something from you. If you give something to somebody, never set a price to it. That's the lesson from it. The moment you set a price, you are the embodiment of corruption, isn't it?
What was Duryodhana's dharma that he, right from the beginning, had to be born in the circumstances that he did? I mean, everybody seems to have a past history for the reason that they were what they were. What was Duryodhana's?
Vedavyasa, who in a way composed the verses of Mahabharata, does not leave anybody without a past, including Krishna. His past lives are being talked about. Krishna and Arjuna as Nara Narayana, every one of them being shown as a consequence of what they were in the past and how they're battling to change the consequence of who they are. Duryodhana alone, he lives untouched. He does not give him a past because he does not want the one who is Duryodhana to escape the context of who he is with an excuse of the past. So Duryodhana is the only character in the whole of Mahabharata who does not have a past life, because Vyasa does not want to leave that excuse to him. I am like this because… there is no because for that kind of behavior. There is no because for that kind of emotion. There is no because for the kind of life that he lives. So, Vyasa wants him to be
100% responsible for everything that he is. So he does not give him an outlet. For everybody else, for the good and bad that they are, for the beauty and the ugliness that they are, there is a past and this is shown as a consequence. This one man is not allowed this privilege. He is who he is simply because he is who he is. There is no excuse for him. So you must understand, the message is just this, that for folly, there is a way out. For stupidity, there is a way out. For moments of anger and insensitivity, there is a way out. For blindness, there is a way out. Blindness of not just vision, emotion and thought and action, there is a way out. But for the kind of rage, for the kind of evil intention that he constantly displays, though there are moments where he comes out as a generous human being, he is a great friend. He seeks friendship everywhere. Whoever was friendly to him, loyal to him, he took care of them really well, better than the Pandavas in that aspect. But you need to understand this. People who are leaders in the world, people who are committed to creating well-being for people, usually are friendless. Great artists are friendless, geniuses are friendless, scientists are friendless, but the worst of the criminals have the best of friends, always. Crime thrives in friendship. You will see there is a thing, thick as thieves, okay? Because to commit crime, you need support. If you don't have loyalty of give and take, there will be no crime. It is very rare a few criminals have come who are alone by themselves. These are a kind of geniuses in their own right. Yes, because their names have been etched in people's memory and in history books. So in their own way, they are kind of geniuses. But otherwise, friendship is a very, very essential quality if you want to be in crime. If you don't have loyal friends, you will not succeed in crime. So, Vyasa does not allow that privilege. He does not give him an excuse of, I am like this because of that. There is no such excuse for him. I'm sorry for the Duryodhana fans. There's nothing wrong, you can even love a beast. Nothing wrong, as long as you are protected from him, as long as he's caged or he's far away. A beast is romantic. Tiger, tiger, burning bright. You heard that? What a beautiful poem. That's because you saw the tiger in a cage in a zoo or in the safety of a safari van, or you never saw one, you just read the poem. But if the tiger walks down here, I don't think there's anybody here who will sing tiger, tiger, burning bright. So, from a distance, Duryodhana has more allure than people who are trying to work with a missionary zeal to create dharma. There is more allure to Duryodhana than anybody else from a distance. But if you ever happen to come in close contact without being his loyal friend, you will be sorry and super sorry. An incident happens where
Krishna is a guest in Duryodhana's palace. Bhanumati, a young, beautiful, fragile girl who is married to Duryodhana, has no clue of the complexity of who he is. A princess married to a prince, she has no idea of who this man is. But as a young girl is trained in those days to simply love her husband, irrespective of who he is, she desperately longs for his love and attention. But she's ravaged in many ways, but not loved. And a certain night, when Duryodhana throws a party, it's a wild, wild party. So people are intoxicated and stoned, and wild orgies were allowed in his palace. When Bhishma comes to know, he will cry. Never before in the house of Kuru such sacrileges happened that things have turned so wild, everything has become animalistic because of this one man. And Bhanumati, because lack of attention from her husband, she gets drunk and she's all over the place. And Krishna sees this, enters through the people when she's just in the danger of falling into various kinds of situations. He picks her up in his hands, takes the risk of carrying her, where she's almost half naked. He carries her back to her chambers and puts her back and looks at her, the fragile creature that she is. He just… teardrops come out of his eyes and he says, such a fragile, wonderful creature in the hands of Duryodhana, he imagines and he cries.